every single night we would get into bed at 3 o'clock in the morning and then up at 6 a.m. And that was like that for 17 weeks. We got so strong. We lost so much weight. You didn't have time to eat. You would just go, 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 go. So by the end of the day, you'll be like, I haven't had time to eat. We don't have time. Like, you just have to keep going.
And when you hear stories of businesses that are successful, it's that perception of it's instant. It's not instant. Like you said, it's been 13, 14 years of hard work, of risk, of, I'm sure, stress, because you're putting everything on the line. Your family's on the line. Welcome to the Honest CEO Show. I'm your host, Caroline Kennedy. Today, I'm joined by Alisa Fraser, one half of the twin powerhouse behind al.ive. Many of you first met Alisa and her sister Lysandra on the block, where their design and their grit and their unshakable bond captivated the nation. But the real story has been unfolding since the cameras stopped rolling. Together, they've built al.ive, a brand that's redefining conscious luxury in home and body care. And they recently expanded into skincare, stepping into one of the most competitive and cutthroat industries in the world. So, from reality TV to running multi-million-dollar businesses, theirs is a story of reinvention, risk, and resilience. So, welcome to the show, Alisa.
Oh, thank you. What a lovely introduction.
We are really excited to share your story with our listeners. And so, like we talked about, many of our listeners and viewers first met you on the block. What did that experience teach you about pressure and partnership?
It taught us so much, and I think that's probably a big reason why we can handle so much stress now, because the pressure was insane, and it was a prolonged pressure, and it was something that most people would never experience, that kind of stress and pressure in their lifetime. So it has definitely carried over to, help us in what we do now.
Yeah. And if you were to be able to describe the pressure, could you?
No, I don't think you can explain it to anybody that hasn't been on our block. But not only, it was our block specifically, because we did 2 blocks, but the first one, it was the longest block in history to film. So it was 17 weeks. But to put it into perspective, we made over an old Biz, it was called the Biz Motel in Melbourne. And so they split the hotel floors into like apartments. So there were 8 hotel rooms on one level that we had to demolish and get ready for the next week. So every single week, you get a week to do your room, but every single week we had to demolish a bedroom and a bathroom. So before you even started the week, the physical work and I'm talking like the bedroom is carpet, skirting boards, beds, curtains, cupboards, and then the bathroom was a bath, a vanity, a toilet, taking all the tiles off the wall. Not only that, in the bedrooms, they had that old popcorn ceiling from Mr. White or something. And so because we had to plasterboard the ceiling, but for legal reasons and regulatory reasons, the ceiling had to be a certain height. So in order for us to be able to direct stick the plasterboard to the ceiling, we then had to scrape away this popcorn ceiling to put all the fairing channels, and there was probably like 100 fairing channels in the ceiling, which we had to scrape with a jackhammer like this, with dust just coming down. And then we had to screw in all the fairing channels before we even started the week. And that was 8 times over. So
did you even sleep?
No. So for 17 weeks, so I think we got like 8 days to do reveal, but it was either 7 or 8, but every single night we would get into bed at 3 o'clock in the morning and then up at 6 a.m. And then 2 nights before reveal, it was like all night. So you didn't sleep. And that was like that for 17 weeks. We got so strong. We lost so much weight. You didn't have time to eat. You would just go, 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 go. So by the end of the day, you'll be like, I haven't had time to eat. We don't have time. Like, you just have to keep going. So I can't put it into words how hard it was. But at the same time, it was the first series we had been on. So the adrenaline was pumping and it 100% got us through. Like, we were on a high. We were loving every minute, as hard as it was.
And for context to listeners, how long would it generally take for something like that in the real world?
Oh, for that whole build, you could easily 18 months, 2 years.
Wow, my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So that gives you a sense of the pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you guys have proved that you were so much more than reality TV contestants. And at times you can be underestimated as a result of that. We see that play
Yeah.
out a lot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how did you guys rise above that? Because you've done it so well.
I think we honestly went on there without, and it was kind of almost before, I feel like kind of just after we were on, the whole reality TV kind of landscape changed a little bit. So we went on without any expectations. We wanted to win some money. We were massive Block fans. So there wasn't any like, oh, we're going to get onto the show and we're going to win. And then we're going to just like be influencers and try and make this new life for ourselves. So it was very organic and we almost just fell into it. So I think because it was organic and because we are extremely driven and hardworking, and, you know, I think the big thing was like Shayna, one of the judges on the blog, said, like, you girls need to do this for a living. And like having that backing and that confidence, like it really helped to be able to make that big step. But to be honest, I just think it comes down to hard work, dedication, and we just don't give up. And the thing is, it's a long bloody slog. And it's been 14 years. Do you know what I mean? Like so many people go onto the blog these days. I'm going to make a career. I'm going to do this. I'm going to move into design. I'm going to do. But at the end of the day, like since we finished the blog, for the first 6 years, we were still working up until probably 1 a.m. every night. And we work just as hard now after 14 years. And I think probably the biggest misconception is just because you're on reality TV, it means that you're going to have a name and a life after the show. But the reality is it takes a lot of hard work and dedication. And 99% of people aren't willing to put in that hard work. So, but as well, they don't also have the drive or the passion and it's just, and I think potentially like we didn't grow up with much money. We grew up in housing trust with a single mom. And I think our upbringing has definitely played a big part of why we are so driven and successful, because we wanted to create a better life.
Yeah.
And I think if people haven't been through that, the drive's probably not in them as much either.
Yeah. And I think also too the resilience, right? Because I grew up in adversity through childhood and my resilience is pretty strong because you have to. You've got no choice, right?
Yeah.
You've got to keep showing up. You've got to keep pushing through because there's no other choice.
No one's going to come along and save you. You've got to kind of make your own. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And where did the idea then, like what was the spark for the idea with al.ive come from?
It came out of, like many things do, or like a really kind of shitty situation where we had finished, we'd invested, we bought a house to flip in Melbourne. The holding costs were ridiculous. We didn't understand, like being in the heritage overlay, just how hard it would be to get through council. You know, holding costs over 2 years on $1 million property, a couple $1 million property is huge, right? So it's eating into your profit. And not only that, we kind of bought in the peak. And then there was a stage between COVID where the market turned really bad. And it just happened to be that time. And anyway, we were styling the bathrooms and the apartment for photos. And we're in Melbourne and we just couldn't find anything in the bathroom and for the bathroom. And it didn't really kind of hit us then. But when it didn't go to plan and we lost a couple $100,000 on this renovation, we were like, well, this is what we were going to do. We were just going to flip homes and, and we got back to Adelaide, and I'm never one for like, if something doesn't work, like give me 10 minutes to go like shit. But then like my brain just automatically goes into like, how do we turn this around into something positive? Because I'm a true believer that everything happens for a reason. And we were sitting in the office, in our interior design office, and I said to Lysandra, just randomly, I just said, you know what, we should, because my brain goes a million miles an hour. We should collaborate with a soap company like a Palmolive and do like a designer range, because I couldn't find anything. She goes, Palmolive, like this. She goes, oh, that's a silly idea. Well, there's so many soaps on the market. And I'm like, but there's not. And anyway, I was like, best thing she could have really done, because like anyone tells me like it's like you can't do anything or it's a dumb idea, it's like gives me more motivation to like do it. So I pretty much went underground for 6 months and I didn't say anything to her, because from that point, and I cannot explain this to you, is like something jumped into my body and it hasn't left. And I just had this clarity of like what it needed to be, like, and I just became obsessed. I just went underground and sent a million emails and tried to educate myself on what product development looks like and how you bring a product to market. And anyway, sitting on the beach one day and writing some logo, like some names, and I was sitting there and I was like, all right, well, how do we bring Lysandra and I's name into it, A&L, but without making it obvious? And we've been given this amazing opportunity to have a presence out there, and how do we make sure that it stands for something? And I love nature. We both love nature. And it was, all right, how can we, what can we do to bring light to, it was either like, it has to be some kind of environmental or charity aspect to it. But because we love nature so much, and we thought, all right, well, I thought, how can we incorporate our name into it? How can we create a product that makes you feel a certain way? And how can we help? And I was like, how can we help keep the planet alive? And then I was like, because I was writing the A and the L, and I was like, what? I was like, how do you want people to feel when they use the product? You want them to feel alive. And then I was like, al.ive. And I was like, that's it. And I was at the beach and I was like, all right, kids are going, need to go home. I need to design a logo. And within that night, logo was designed. I was on the phone with my graphic designer, and we had literally created it. And I literally said, this is exactly how I want it. And we didn't make a change to it. The very first option she sent, I'm like, yeah, that's it. So it was, and then from there, it's just been like go ever since.
Go.
It's really kind of, when you think about it, it's such a unusual course for life to take, but it was so clear. It was like, this is, and I think what it does is it proves that there can be a saturated market, but you just need to find your own unique, value proposition. And ours was creating a styling item that was also functional, that went in any kind of decor, but also as beautiful on the inside as it is on the out. So we don't make, it was like, our promise when we created this is to formulate without palm oil. And that has been like a really big challenge. It costs 30% more to formulate without palm oil. And just to formulate is really tricky, but we managed to do it. So it was just creating something that was, this is in a saturated market, but it just hadn't been kind of, I guess, executed in a design way.
Yeah. And I think that to me stands out with your brand, because you're right. Even when I was looking at selling my house and, we were doing like bathroom styling, not that I'm nowhere near to the degree that you guys are, but going and looking for something that elevated the space, you just couldn't really find anything. And so even that spark with that idea that you had 6 months prior and it's sitting with you. And I like that you evolved it from, we'll collaborate with Palmolive to and then we have our own brand that's very conscious and feels like us. And I loved when you said, something jumped in my body, and when you said that, I got goosebumps all over. And I actually believe in that. Sometimes ideas just come to us and they're meant to be as well, and that's our pathway, even though it doesn't seem logical at the time.
And it's like that intuition. It's like that feeling in the pit of your stomach, and it hasn't left. And it's that knowing. And we had that on the blog when we got well, we hadn't even been told that we'd made it onto the blog, but we knew we were going to get onto the blog, and we knew we were going to win it. It was so weird. And it's like that gut feeling inside your stomach where you have people and, some family that say like, why are you doing this? Like, it's just like, it's risky, like it's saturated, like it's just like, and they don't have the confidence. And not once have I ever doubted it. So then I went to Lysandra and I was like, hey, I've been working really like hard in the background. And she saw it. She's like, oh my God, I love it. Now I can see the vision, like totally on board. So much so, like she sold her house to back it. Yeah. So there's been a lot of sacrifices and a lot of risk taking to get to where we are. It certainly hasn't been on a silver platter, and it certainly hasn't been, we've won that money on the block and now we're dropping it into that. Like, she lived in a shitty unit for, 4 years, When she sold her house, she was living in the back of a friend's house. Like, there's been sacrifices, and people don't see that. They see the beautiful home and the nice car that you drive now. And so I just think that's really important.
to recognize. Yeah. And when you hear stories of businesses that are successful, it's that perception of it's instant. It's not instant. Like you said, it's been 13, 14 years of hard work, of risk, of, I'm sure, stress, because you're
Oh my
putting
God.
everything on the line. Your
And
family's on the line.
sacrifice. Like
Yeah.
sacrifice with your
Yeah.
family and your
Yeah.
kids, and
Yeah.
they don't get the best of you, and
Yeah, yeah. But perseverance to keep pushing through and keep going. And I think that's really critical.
yeah.
And family businesses can be powerful, but also kind of explosive. I see that a lot in the work that I do. So, what's the one thing people admire about you both? And I think that that's your bond, and that's a strength that you both have as sisters and business partners. But how do you bring that closeness, yet I'm sure at times there are differing views as well? How do you
Yeah.
manage that? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like this love-hate, hey. It's like you couldn't do it with anyone else but your sister, maybe your twin sister at that. If anyone watched the block, they would know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Lucky we're sisters, otherwise it would be classified as domestic violence. The way that we spoke to each other. But it was really hard at the beginning. And I think the hard part came from, because it was my vision and having such a clear idea, it was really hard to let go of that and to almost like meet in the middle.
Yeah.
So there was definitely some clashes, and like, no, you run the business then, no, you run the business then, and like, and I was like, this isn't worth it, you do it. And she was like, well, I can't do it, so you do it. And I was like, well, I'm not working with you because I hate you at the moment. But I guess like the beauty of that is yes, it was tough, and we went through some, it was just a different way of working. And I think what was really great about it was we still had our design business, and we still have our personal brand, and that requires attention as well. And so we kind of sat down and we're like, all right, we can't both be in each other's pockets, and we don't have the time to collaborate every second to get approval from each other. We just don't. So we made the decision that like she would move over to the interior design side and run that and help with the personal brand stuff, because that takes a lot of time. And then I would run Alive Body, and then we would come together for big decisions, any kind of design sign off, any campaign sign off, any new product development, or likewise with her, we both had the final say on the finished result, or along the way as well. So that was actually a really good balance. And I think making that decision and being able to have that conversation was really healthy. And now we've just got a really good balance. Like, we don't even work together in the same office anymore. She works, her designer, I'm from her home office, I'm work from home, and we come together and like we do podcasts together and we do filming, and she does a lot of content now with Alive Body. So she's kind of moved over to more of the creative side, doing all the photo shoots and content, and it all takes time, and we actually probably need to be like a octuplet or something, because we need 8 of us. But I guess that's the benefit as well of being able to have, we literally live right next door. We built a house together, and her like cat literally lives here with me. So it's nice. Like, we found a good balance for the first time in a long time.
Yeah. And I think what I'm hearing too is that when you decide this is the area that I'm going to focus on, this will be my responsibility, and then having those clear boundaries, even though you're both critical to each other because you are in a partnership, but knowing that this is the area I'm going to focus on and this is your area, it just helps with that clarity, doesn't
Definitely.
it? And then therefore come together. And because you are in partnership in so many ways, including the personal brand, including the design business and Alive Body, and you can't spread thin across all of that. You
No.
probably find if you had done that, then you wouldn't be as successful as you are.
100%. Like, we divide and conquer really well. Like, she knows how strenuous it is running a team of 40 people, and she's always got my back to go, like, anything you need, like, throw my way, I'll pick this up, leave this with me. So
well, the lifestyle space is saturated, but you found a point of difference. Was there any moment where you doubted that Alive Body would actually stand out? Like, even though you had the intuition, did you ever think, no?
Never, ever.
And I wonder if that's also a key lesson for any listeners. And why do you think, even though you talked about your intuition before, you just knew that knowing, was there anything else, or was it we're just like, as in, we're going to make this work, so I have no doubt at all?
No, it was just a knowing. It wasn't that I'm going to make this work because I'll work until I die to make it work. It was an intuition. And I've had that my whole life. It's almost like this psychic ability. It's really weird. Like, I don't want to go woo-woo on you, but it is. It's like this, it's this inner knowing. And I can totally appreciate not everyone has that. And you can't even force it. Like, you can't even pretend. Like, it's not like you tell yourself, it's not like manifest. Well, manifesting definitely plays a part, but it's not like you just say it to yourself and then it happens. It's just, you can't fake that knowing, you know?
Yeah. I think I've had it a few times in my life. It's really interesting. And sometimes I move away from it and then I come back from it. But the one time that stands out for me was when I was put forward for a Telstra Business Women's Award, and I was doing my submission, and I just knew that I was on the right path and it was going to happen. And it's strange because I had no idea, right? But you just know, and then that's what happens. And then there are times I move away from it and think, where is it? It's not that I'm trying to force it. It's am I not tapping into it? Yeah.
No, I 100% understand that wholeheartedly. And because that's kind of happened to me a little bit, like where you lose course a little bit or you go off track, and it's not like you doubt yourself, but you're like, that energy or that whole, it's going to be okay, kind of goes away. But you know what that is to me? That's when you've got so much shit in your head and you're blocking. So you're resisting it. And when you resist something or you fight against something or you try to control a situation too much, that's when it goes off course. And that's when you need to take a holiday and you need to go listen, walk around in nature, and you need to go listen to like Buddha or something that clears all the energy out so that you don't have that blockage and it's there. That's why it comes in waves, I swear. And like I said, I don't want to go woo-woo, but that was like a big eye-opener to me the other month when I was like, oh shit, I used to have so much clarity. I went to Bali and then went for a walk every morning around a beautiful garden and listened to Buddha. And I was like, I came back and I had this different energy and I was like, there it is. I knew it was there. You need to clear out all that negative energy and yeah.
All right. Well, I'm taking a holiday to Bali. I'm going to tell my husband after I get off this podcast, we're off to Bali.
It's so important, and rest is so important. And I'm preaching to, the wrong person. To myself.
The unconverted,
The unconverted. But I'm actually going to Bali again in a couple of weeks, so I'm trying to now just take that time. But 100%, the rest, when you're so busy, rest is actually more important than to keep grinding and going, because you actually then become very unproductive and you spin your wheels. So taking a breather, even if it's a week or 4 days, whatever it is, just really gives you that time to reset and to think with clarity.
Yeah. So launching into the skincare area was bold and a brilliant move as well. It's only been recently too, because I think I watched an actual video somehow of the launch and the unboxing and the excitement with you both. And you're also now in Maya, I see.
Yes.
So you're competing against these global giants, right?
Yeah.
And for you, how did you make it happen? How did you decide now we're going to go into skincare?
So I think the transition into skincare was actually quite an organic one. We created al.ive because it solved a problem that we were finding, which was beautiful styling items within your home that are also functional, which is how the kitchen trio came about. No one likes having bloody dishwashing liquid and crap on your bench. You always hide it away when your friends come over. So the kitchen trio was born. Same with the hair duo as well. Like, no one likes having those ugly bottles in the shower. Skincare was one of those problems that our customers were asking for it, and they've been asking for it for a long time. So it was a little bit hard to ignore. Also, it came from probably everything that we've created has been a result of what is missing in our lives. And skincare was one of those ones where you might go get a facial, you might go to Mecca, you might go to wherever and get your skincare, and you might buy one product here, one product there. And then what ends up happening is you don't know how to use it, you don't know how to layer it. It's ugly, so then it gets put in your drawer or behind your shaving cabinet and you don't use it. So it was that moment of, first and foremost, we create beautiful products on the outside and the in, but they have to be functional. So we spent so long on formulating these products. We engaged Australia's leading natural chemists. We worked with an Australian skin expert to create a system that was effortless, that we had done all the thinking for you, that layered beautifully, that covered every skin concern and was suitable for every skin type. We've also created it in such a beautiful way that you want to display it on your vanity. And the best part about that is that you are compliant because it is in front of you. And it's an experience that you actually enjoy day and night. It's in the morning, it's all like, even the naming conventions make it so easy. When I wake, before I sleep, you don't have to guess of like, when am I using this product? And we've got 7 products out in the market, which you don't need any more than that. Well, you don't even need 7. Like the way that we've created, you can have that full routine, which has everything covered that you require for your skin. And the best part, I think the number one thing for having beautiful skin is that compliance, if you're using it consistently every day. Yeah. And that is why we created al.ive Skin, because selfishly, we needed it in our lives and we knew that our customers were wanting it. And yeah, it was just, I think, a natural evolution.
Progression, yeah. And you know what I love about that is that you've simplified it, because it honestly, skincare and beauty is so complex. You're right. You walk into Mecca, Sephora, whatever, you're like, where am I going? What am I doing? What am I purchasing? What do I need? And it just is very complicated. So you saw a problem and you helped to solve it, which is really genius in a industry that overcomplicates everything.
Yeah. Saturated market again. You just need to find, what is missing out there. And I think we certainly found it. And they're refillable as well. So they're sustainable, which is really important to us. And the biggest thing, like you said, it's effortless. I think another big thing is like, because we are palm oil free, there's competitors out there that will say on their website, we cannot formulate skincare without palm oil. We use round table, responsibly sourced, blah, 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 greenwashing. And we're like, well, if we can't achieve a full skincare range without using palm oil, then we're not doing it.
Yeah.
And it costs so much money to develop because there's so many iterations of it. The biggest thing for us is like, even when we were using our competitor brands, the layering of the product, I'm a buller. So you can, like, some products will bull on your face if you use, say, a serum and then you use a moisturizer and then you put your makeup on, you get all this like flaky skin. And luckily I am a buller because we picked that up in testing. So there were many, many iterations to make sure that each layer, and it was like this process of elimination to say like, what product is causing that?
Yeah.
So it was a long drawn out process. So everything has been considered, like, down to, every last piece, which is why it took so long to get it to market.
How long did it take?
Over 2 years. I reckon it was about 2.5 years.
Okay. Yeah. That's quite extensive, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I can imagine, I know you want to get it right and you want it to be, as you're going through removing the products or the ingredients that might be causing that. But I can imagine that was quite frustrating, every new iteration of it, even though it was satisfying to know that you were developing something that had that point of difference, but also frustrating when you get an iteration, you're like, no, it's not quite there. When are we going to get it there? It feels never ending, doesn't it?
Never ending.
Yeah. Until it ends. And then
until it launches. Everything always, works out. You just have to be patient.
And for you, what's the hardest personal lesson that this journey has taught you?
I think the hardest part about it all is the sacrifice I have to make with my family. Because there is sacrifice. I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, they don't suffer, because they do. They see me stressed most days. They see me walking through the door. I'm out of the door just after, like, 5:15 in the morning. And some nights I don't get home until 7:30 at night. So they don't get the best of me all the time. But yeah, I think that's the hardest part for me. That will be, and I try not to guilt myself, because you can't do it. Like, you just have to do the best that you can. And my mum, we grew up with my mum running a business, and we spent every waking hour at the business, and the kids get a great life, and they don't, it's just mum's guilt all the time. And just feeling like you're letting people down, or your husband down, because you're not spending the time with him or the kids, but then also like having time for all the stuff, and then also trying to find some time for yourself. And that's the biggest struggle.
And what's really interesting about that is that when I hear people talk about work-life balance, I'm like, there is no such thing. And if you're attempting to attain that, you've got to set yourself up for failure. Because, and you know what? I also think too, what you're saying is that you work hard because that's ingrained in you, but you're also teaching your kids about hard work too. And they watch you, and you're a role model for them. And I'm not saying it's easy. And I know the whole mum guilt thing, any mum that has kids generally feels it, and even if you're not working those hours, there's still something you're going to feel guilty about, And so, but it is to recognize that people can assume that when you build something that's successful, that it has come easy, or that because, like you said earlier, that you had that exposure in that brand, that it was easy, but it wasn't. There are lots of sacrifices that come with that, but you choose them. And I think it's important for listeners to realize that there are sacrifices and hard work and risk.
A lot
And
of risk.
you put a lot on the line to do something you're passionate about.
And I think probably the takeaway there is like, you really have to be passionate about it. And don't do it if you're not, because there are way more harder days, way more harder days than there are easy days. And you have to love it. You have to really believe in it. Don't do it to make money. Don't do it to think it's creating your own life and you get to make your own decisions, and well, you do, but it's not it's certainly not what entrepreneurship is kind of made out to be.
Yeah.
It's not as
made out
cool
to be
as
very
like
glamorous, isn't it?
It's not as glamorous. But I wouldn't have it any other way, and I could never work for anyone ever again, ever.
As we wrap up, 2 last questions for you. Which one is kind of a segue to what you were just talking about? Is there anything else you would tell any entrepreneur that's listening that are in the messy middle and perhaps they're at that burnout point and they're questioning themselves? Is there anything else that you would say to them?
I mean, I've been there many times, and you're just like, I just want this to end. And it does. It does. But as well, if nothing changes, nothing changes.
Mm-hmm.
And something has to change for you to either get out of that mindset or get out of the rut. And it could be small changes. And I honestly believe you need to surround yourself with the absolute best people that you can surround yourself with. I think that is so important. But also it's almost and depends on what stage of the business that you're at. Obviously, the earlier you are, money is tight. I mean, you always have to watch your money anyway. But it's kind of like the who, not the how as well. If you're stuck because you don't know how to do something, try and find a person that does or that can tell you how to do it.
Yeah.
That whole who, not how, there's a really good book on that, actually. It's called Who, Not How. And yeah, I think there's a lot of pain that people can save themselves.
Yeah.
But I think you've also got to be open to finding people that can help you along the way.
Yeah. And so what I'm hearing is that if somebody's walked the journey before you, it might be worthwhile figuring out how they can support you on that, right? And I love that. If nothing changes, nothing changes. I say that all the time, and it's important.
Yeah.
What are we going to do differently? And what does that look like? And what support is there?
Yeah. And sometimes you have to make really tough decisions. I make tough decisions all the time, and it gets easier, but especially at the beginning, it's hard. But just back yourself, and also don't let anyone else take over. You know your business the best, and yes, be open and the who, not the how, but also just be really careful of when you let go too much as well. That you lose touch, and people don't always, do as good a job as you do because you know the business so well.
Yeah, well, it's your baby, isn't it? It might not be theirs. Even though they have some expertise, it doesn't mean it's their baby.
100%.
Yeah, but they might not necessarily, they don't have the same skin in the game that you have, and nobody ever will.
No, totally.
Yeah. And all right, so last question. If you could go back and speak to the two of you on the block, what advice would you whisper in your own ear?
I feel like I do everything the hard way. And I think there's a part of that is potentially an ADHD thing where my brain doesn't compute a lot of things in it. I feel like I get to places the long way. So I would be telling myself, hire people that can help you get there quicker, hand off the things that you're not good at or passionate about, and focus on the things that really drive you forward, because you can get caught in the weeds doing lots of doing, but it's, the 80-20 rule and the big rock, the small rock in the sand.
Skip the needle stuff.
Yeah. So just being really clear on why you're doing something and what the result you want to get from that, because time is, there's only a limited amount of time and there's a million things that you can focus on, but just being really clear on what those key drivers are.
Yeah. So as we wrap up, Alisa, thank you so much for your honesty today and your vulnerability. I think that's really important for people to hear that. And so from reality TV beginnings to building a brand that is standing shoulder to shoulder with global players, your story shows us and all listeners that resilience and reinvention are the real game changers here, right? And so to our listeners, if this episode has sparked something in you, subscribe to the Honest CEO Show on anywhere that you listen to your podcasts, and check out other episodes at carolinekennedy.com.au. And thank you so much, Alisa. I really appreciate your time.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.